This is VRoc. 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 Chops. This is VRoc Chops.
All right, welcome back, Chop Nation. We back with another great one. We back with the Dr. Virgil Goodwine, the second, man. So put your hands together, man. Give me a little drum roll. Yeah, man. You gotta do the drum roll, bro. Gotta do the drum roll.
This
Man,
is
how you doing, bro?
Chops.
I'm good. I can't complain. Just trying to maintain through this snowstorm that's going on all over the country right now.
Man, exactly. Everywhere but California, Florida, and like Arizona or something, man. So
Must be nice.
everybody else is getting beat up, man, in the States.
Must be
Yeah, man. So, man, I appreciate you for the Chop Nation. Listen, I'm gonna publicly apologize. I had Dr. Goodwine's time so bad. It's all me. So it's gonna be a little bit later. It's my fault, man. I gotta apologize publicly, bro. I can't let that slide, man. I was out of pocket, bro. But we're gonna make this thing work though.
Absolutely.
For sure. Man, I appreciate you coming on. All right, we're gonna dive right on in, man. We're gonna start with them same old questions. So we're gonna start with the first one. For us at Chop Nation, we about to learn a lot. What high school did you attend? And if you attended college, for the people that don't know, what college did you attend?
All right. So high school, I went to Colonel White High School. It's out in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
When I started, it was a performing arts school. And then as you know, I got further in, almost I think senior year, it kind of faded away due to the changes in the district. My first percussion instructor there was a guy named David Easterling. We all called him Cool. That was his nickname.
Cool.
And he was a snare player from Central State.
Okay.
Played, I believe, back in 1989 was when 89 or 90. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I played there. He was one of the ones that kind of like jailed that rudiments and like, hey, you need to start looking at this stuff if you're going to be serious about playing. Before high school, I played locally, in Dayton, Ohio, we had drill teams. And I don't know if it's big down in Memphis, but I know it's big in Chicago where it's just a drum line and girls, they do their moves and steps to the beats that, the drummers create. So started there, then went to high school, and then went to undergraduate. I had two choices. Wait, it was three choices.
Okay.
Long story short. Part of me wanted to go to Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
I really wanted to go to Prairie View. Like
Okay.
you got to think this is 290. No, this is 2001, 2002 when the box when they were all over the place. I really wanted to go there. My parents wouldn't let me because it was so far. I was in
Yeah.
Dayton, Ohio, so Ohio to Texas, they weren't having that. My next option was Central State up in Wilberforce, and the former band director there was my middle school teacher, and me and his son played all through high school together. So I ended up going to Central State for my undergrad and played in March up at Central State for 2002 to 2007.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's do a let's do a your graduate year. What college did you? We got to put it on out there. Yeah.
Okay, graduate school. I went to University of Dayton. There were different. It's a complete opposite. HBCU show style. University of Dayton was a core style. There were a few guys that played that were in the band that played with I believe it's the Cavs. They used to have their little jackets on. There's someone, Mo Longo, she played for Rudiment. I think that's what it's called, Rudiment. And there were some other guys locally within the university that played with Phantom Regiment, stuff like that. But that's where I did my master's at the University of Dayton, and that's actually where I started my music career. Like my undergrad was in math, and I was a math teacher for about a year. And I'm just being truthful, I was intimidated by majoring in music as an undergraduate, just because you hear the stories of music theory, music history, ethnomusicology. Like you got to keep up, you got to do this. And I think part of me was, I think I was a little immature, like in terms of the work ethic. That makes sense, like in those type courses. So I didn't do it. And then my senior year, I joined percussion ensemble, joined the steel pan ensemble, and I loved it. Like, oh, this is what I should have been doing. This is where it's at. But of course, the senior year, changing your major is probably not the best. It's not in the best interest of you. So I just finished out my math degree. So at the University of Dayton, they had a program where you could get your license in music and get your master's. The only catch was you had to take every music course, undergrad and grad.
Right, it's like you did 2 undergrads.
Yeah, I did it all over again. I was there from 2008 to 2012. So during the fall and spring, I was doing all undergraduate, having, trying to get done. I had maybe 20 credit hours one semester, 22 the next semester. Like I was cramming. And in the summer, it was all graduate courses. So it was just back to back to back for like three or so years. And I had to student teach again in music just to meet, Ohio's rules and regulations.
Gotcha.
So I did that, and finally I think I marched 2 or 3 years at UD. For me, of course, it's a culture shock coming from the high step to the core style. But for me, I wanted to learn it. I didn't see myself where I am now. I didn't see this in the future, but I said, like, who knows? Like, I can take whatever they're teaching and see, the culture and all that, and apply it to what I already know, to with the show style, and who knows where I can take it from there.
Right.
So I mean, I got people that march high step. They laughed at me. Look at you with the little harness on, the tilted. I didn't care. Like I was learning. So like I'm going to use this further down the road. So it was I enjoyed my time there. It was just totally different. But I think for me, I was mature enough and open to accept, like, this is all new. So I'm going to roll with it. And I'm going to be a sponge, just take everything I can. Like my professor's name was Jim Leslie. He was a drum set. His primary, he was a set jazz drummer.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So he still plays right now. I mean, if you look at Facebook, still performing and everything. And but he went to Michigan State. So I mean, if anyone knows like Michigan State and Michigan guys in terms of their percussion world, those studios, they're amazing musicians, amazing. And him on the 4 mallets, this drum set, even marching, everything. Like, you ever sit with somebody like, oh my gosh, he can do everything. Like he was that guy, like that guy can get down sight read for mallet like it was nothing. Like, oh, just pull the music up. I got it. What is it? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And for me, I never touched the marimba four mallets or never like, touched it seriously until graduate school.
Okay.
Like we didn't have it in high school, just like normal. Well, now I don't want to say normal, and it sucks, but most urban high schools don't have marimbas or xylophones or vibraphones. And that was all new to me. So again, like I had that sponge mindset. Let me soak all this in because I'm playing catch up. I could been playing drums for years, but this whole next world that I've never seen, never been a part of, I got to catch up because like my percussion professor, JL, used to say, like, you're competing with people who've been doing this all their life. So you got to get on it, get on it. So it took me 4 years. I finished there in December of 2012 with my master's in music education. So. Sorry to keep going. You brought it up. I was like, let me keep going.
No, go, man. Go. Like, what did you get your doctorate from?
Okay, so
is it also in percussion?
No, it's not. I actually switched. Like I started the PhD program at UK for a PhD in music education. Unfortunately, I didn't feel like the direction of the program and me, like it wasn't fitting or gelling together. So I left, and I started teaching more. I didn't want to pursue music because I felt like that there were other issues in music programs at higher education that I wanted to address, specifically retention and HBCU music programs. Like that's my big thing. Like anyone that went to any HBCU or was in any part of their music department, first semester you meet all these new people in the band, all that. Second semester there's a big drop off.
Yeah.
Then you come back the next year, it's the same thing over and over. You meet all these people and there's a drop off. And I always wondered, like, why? Like you can, of course, everyone has their own individual story. Someone died, or I can't afford to come back, or I lost my scholarship due to GPA. But I felt like that was a growing issue across the country that I wanted to discover or really look into. So, a fraternity brother of mine recommended I go to Capella University online. I was a band director, so me going in the school all day during the day, I couldn't do that. I couldn't work. There was no way. So they had a program with leadership in higher education, and specifically within that program, I had options of selecting my focus, and my focus was retention. So I got my PhD in leadership in higher education, and my research is on retention in HBCU music programs. I really wanted to look into why these students were leaving college and leaving these programs. Like I had great friends as an undergraduate with people from all over the world. I'm sure you do too. And I'm sure there are many out there who have the same thing, but then, you come back to next semester, they're gone. So that's what I really wanted to research, why these students were leaving and, how can we fix that problem at the higher education level. And so my research, and I don't want to really go all the way into that, but I found like some of the things we knew, but in dealing with research, it has to be in writing. Someone else had to say it for it to be valid. So I wanted to be that person that actually wrote it out and found it, so that those coming behind me looking into music departments at HBCUs can like view my research and say, hey, pull stuff for me and expand on it, even while I'm expanding on it.
Right. And that's dope, bro. I fall into the stat line of the retention rate not sticking through, man. When I left, I did a couple of years and then came on back home. But yeah, that's great. And that's very, very creative thinking, bro. Some people, the regular people, that's not a thought. So that shows you already have a mind that's beyond that's outside the box, bro. But to your first thing, when you was talking about in high school, the little drumline group that y'all had with Majorettes, what you call it? Drill team. We had that in Memphis. Kind of phased out. It's not as big as it once was, but we just call it jamboree. That's what they call it back then. Actually, my high school, Whitehaven, they had a. I just saw a video maybe a week or two ago from our jamboree team back in '87. I think before I was born, or right when I was like '88. It was like right up in that '87, '89 year or so. And they were bumping. Them boys doing splits and everything. So
Yep.
yeah, man. Yeah,
It
it was
was
big, man. It was a big thing. Like I said, it kind of phased that. We still have the dancing groups. They still do that. They do more so tracks, as far like pre-recorded music or something like
right.
that.
Okay. Okay.
And stuff. So yeah, they still do it, but the drum aspect of it's not as big. We have a youth MA. My boy gonna be my bad, Corey. MAMYA. I know what I said, but they're a little youth group that they have a little drumline group, and they do both. So they keeping that thing kind of going. Cool, man. Man, that's what's up, man. So let's move on a little bit. We're gonna go to what is your favorite rudiment, and why do you consider that to be your favorite rudiment?
I would say the Swiss Army triplet,
Okay.
because something about it gives me like I did a warm up. A lot of my warm ups with flam rudiments all revolve around the flam tap and Swiss Army triplet because I love that dribbling feeling. You know, when you're doing it, make you feel like you're dribbling or kind of thing. So like I used to when I would teach students or would play, I used to how fast can you do this Swiss Army triplet, or how fast can you do this flam tap, and then go back and forth, and then how fast can your flam taps turn into rolls and then turn back into Swiss Army triplet. So that and then switch your hands. Like for me, like I just love that feeling. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. Yeah. So I like Swiss and try to invert them, move an accent around occasionally. Back when I was playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my favorite, the Swiss Army triplet.
Yeah, man, you the second person that had the Swiss omelet as their favorite. I wanna say Brian. I think that was Brian. I gotta go back into my Rolodex to remember, but I think it was Brian that said the Swisses were his favorite ones too. So cool, man. That's what's up. All right, so what was that moment for you when you realized like, hey, I want to be a drum. I want to play drums. I like drums. This is what I want to do. What was that moment for you?
I think it was a few times. So, my aunt is the one that started the drill team. Is I'm about to reveal one of my. You know how people have stories from back when they were real little. They don't want nobody to know. Me at my age, I don't care now. So my aunt started a drill team, and the guys in the drum line, you know, they were older. They wouldn't let me play. So I was a flag boy. I literally was walking in the front with a flag, carrying it. I mean, I couldn't twirl or anything, but you know, I was carrying. And then they gave me a shot on bass drum. Like, of course, I'm walking the flag. I'm like, all the boys are playing drums. I want to play drums with them. Like,
Right.
well, I'm walking in front of this flag. I guess I wasn't good enough. I don't know. So then they finally let me. I wanted to play. They put me on a bass drum, which was too heavy. Of course, this is me. I think I'm 9, 10 years old, something like that, with a bass drum on. I think it was probably like a 26 in a parade. Like I remember my mom walking on side of me, holding the side of the drum up
Oh wow.
so I could play, like because it was so heavy. But you know, community groups, you know, the whatever equipment they have, that's what they have. So it's either you make it happen or you don't play. So that's when I started playing. And it didn't really trigger to get serious about playing until I think my senior year in college when I got into percussion ensemble and the steel pan ensemble. And one day I went to the music store. There was this book there. It was called Rudimental Logic by Bill Bachman. And I decided to pick it up. I mean, because I could read, but you know, we didn't have a marching percussion instructor consistently while I was at Central State. We had one a few years. His name's Jason Shelton, and he was from UAPB. He's like one of the heavyweights that kind of built Crank back in 98, 99, one of those guys. I think his last year was 99. I don't remember. But so yeah, he taught us what he could teach us when he came over to Central State. And then he left due to whatever reasons and got us started as another program. And so I purchased that book, that Rudimental Logic in percussion ensemble, steel pan ensemble, and was just practicing. Like I remember like I wasn't working or anything, so I would get out of class and I would just go practice. Like, I wonder what's this like. Let me go practice. And I got better. Like, my hands are moving faster.
Yeah.
And this is pre-YouTube era.
Right.
My hands are going faster. And then people were starting to ask me, like, hey, yo, how you do that? Can you show me how to do that? So, stuff like that, builds your confidence up a little bit. Like, maybe I'm doing something right. And I'm getting better at this. And so I stuck with it. And our school went Central State. We went to the Honda 2 years in a row. And getting to see those other lines. Like, we were in a hotel with Norfolk State, and of course I've never seen them in person, but I know they can play. But just watching some of the guys play, like, oh my God, they are playing like I want to play like that. Just watching them play. And so it got serious for me. Took that book, in that book, it's still out. He has a 3.0 out right now, and I still use that book to my students. But take that book and all the inversions he put in there, and then using the metronome and speeding up. I was like, hey, I'm getting good at this. And people were starting to gravitate to me, like, can you teach me how to do that? Can you show me how to do that? And I started teaching the stuff. Everything I learned, I taught my line I was teaching back in Dayton, Ohio. Right. So it's like they didn't know that. Of course, they looked at me like, oh man, he's great. But to them, I just learned this the day before. So I'm just like, I figure if I'm learning it at this age, if you knew it then, you'll be better than me by the time you're my age.
Yeah.
So I started teaching them that stuff. And I traveled with them, taking them all over the place, competing and stuff like that. And I think that's where I met James Riles first, because we did a event in Cincinnati and Cream was there and my line was there. That's how we met and linked up for the first time. Okay. But yeah, so that was my senior year in college as an undergrad. I picked up that book, joined those two ensembles, and then it just took off from there. Yeah. That's honestly like, and I think that was like probably one of the best decisions, I made. Like, everybody knows I drum from where I'm from, but for it to turn up and get serious was like, that was that year, my senior year in college. Yeah. I wish it was earlier, but everything happens
for a reason. Yeah. Man, that's dope, bro. I know one of the things you was saying, you said you was teaching something, or you were learning something, and then you were teaching to the younger guys, and you were like, you learn it early, then you'll be better than me. That's one of my number one statements to my guys, especially when they're like middle schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be something like, I want to be like you, or I want to do like you. I like, might be better than me. Once you get better than me,
you should be crushing me. You're gonna be crushing me.
And listen, I remember, and I'm nowhere near elite as a snare drum at all. I can play a little bit, but I'm nowhere elite. So when I have like 6th graders, 7th graders, I can do like little manipulating things to play, and they'll be like, so they throw them off. And so once they get to a point to where they playing something, and I look, after when I know they better than me, I stop challenging them. And then when they get older, like 12th grade, I'll mess around with like every snare drum. Chop, Brian, Justin, I used to mess with them and do little certain things. And once they started practicing, and they start hitting their scribe and more consistent, and they start playing stuff. I mean, like, I'll start with them, and they'll do something. I'll figure out a way to slide on out, like Homer Simpson. That meme.
Be like, all right, y'all got it.
I never say anything, so this is probably the first time hearing it. When they get cold, I stop trying to get them. I let them. Y'all got it.
I do the same thing even now, especially with teacher chops. It's just, oh my gosh, we do so many other things. We don't get to play as much as we used to when we were younger. But you get your snare, like you said, get your snare drummers a certain level. And then, like, for me, it's like, okay, I know his hand speed is about to kill mine because he's practicing all day long. I'm working and doing other things. Yeah. So when they get to that hand speed, then I get them like, that's cool. Well, let's do some sight reading right quick. Yeah. I know I always win.
I have like this little chop I do. It's one of the cadence I made. It's like a double, but it's the accent in the second beat. So it's bop, bop. So that was my go-to. That was my go-to.
Right. Okay.
All of them could do. I was like, yeah. I'm like, when I said I was running them boys for years with that same one. It's like the last 3 years or so. Matter of fact, Ryan is at Alcorn. I want to say his second year at Alcorn. It seemed like every one of them. And so when I pulled it out now, It was like, yeah, we got it. I'm like,
Right. Yeah, we all can do that.
okay,
That's
y'all
how I
got
feel.
it.
Man, that's how, like, when I would tell my students, and I shouldn't have did this, but it is what it is. I just being honest, like I can tell them doing the crushes or drags, inside stuff. That's one of my weaknesses. I never like put, and it's probably because I never put much effort into it. Because like it'd be rare when I would actually use this
Right.
like throughout a solo. So then that'd be the only thing they practice. And they're like, "Come on, Goodwine, let's see what you got." Crush and crush. I'll be like, "Hey, you got it, man.
But they
You
listen,
got
when
it,
I tell you they eating them jumps up, I was like,
man.
God, dog. When like,
You got it."
it's like when they were little, I used to do it and they used to get like, man, I can't do it now. I'm in that position, like, I'm looking at my hands, like my hands hurt. I can't.
Right, absolutely. You be like, you know what? I ain't got it.
Yeah, man, and they got it. Listen, y'all got it. I'll figure out
Right,
something though.
you the man. You go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So cool, man. So what is one of your favorite drum memories that you can pull out from playing or teaching or whatever? Just whatever you consider your favorite memory from this life.
Favorite memory? Um, I think I'll say, hmm, I think it was I'll say teaching. I mean, I have a lot of them teaching when I was just teaching. As I was, like I said, I was learning and teaching at the same time,
Yeah.
and like the style of drumming in Dayton, Ohio was different from what I was teaching because I was learning in a totally different language of music at that time. I'm the guy that went to college, went to go start my master's, and I was coming back teaching everything I was learning to the guys. So like I remember, I don't remember what year it was, like when I built up the line, I had 8 snares, maybe 4 or 5 quints, and we had I modeled, even though I marched to Central State, I modeled Prairie View style because
Yeah.
I was a PV head to heart. Like, oh my gosh, those guys are jumping and throwing people around and stuff. So I would do those drum shows back in Ohio. And I remember the first time we did it was like mixed reviews. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what just happened. That was great or was it bad? Because no one does that stuff here. Like we do stand still, play, drop cadences, and move on. And that was the first time that I introduced that to Dayton, Ohio, and to people up north. That was the first time they saw somebody do it, and I kept doing it over and over and over and over. And that's kind of how I built my line back in Ohio, and then just continued on. Like a lot of my students go to. Well, I'm not a lot. I've had a bunch of students back in with that line. A few of them go over to A&T when they were converting over to the more show style, more show style line, and they were coming back and showing, regurgitating, teaching the other kids like, yo, this is what we do in North Carolina. Blah 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 blah. So like my line just kept improving from those kids going out, me giving them those opportunities. Like I got a kid at South Carolina State and like everywhere, they just go in different places and they would come back and teach the kids again. So I think that was my most memorable drumming experience as a teacher. Like that when that first started. Of course, now you do it, you do it so many times, it keeps happening. Just like you at YA, I'm sure your kids come back, nah, you can't do this. You got to do it like this kind of thing. And you let them like, oh yeah, he's vetted, he can play. Go over here and show them whatever you want to show them, kind of thing. So I think that's what like, has a strong imprint on mine.
Yeah, man. That's it's very like we mirror each other in that sense of where you are as one of your favorite memories, because that's definitely kind of one of mine. And you even speaking on y'all traditional way of performing was just stand still and go.
Mm-hmm.
And in Memphis that was ours. And for about 5-6 years ago, I kind of stirred the pot up a little bit. It wasn't too receptive, but hey.
Right, absolutely. They're like, what is this? What are you doing? What is this?
You gotta beat it. That's what it is.
What's this?
Hey, you can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. So yeah, man. Hey, listen, I understand.
What is this? Probably looking like, I don't know, are we clapping or not? Like, I don't know what they just did. Like,
I'm gonna tell you what's funny. Our very first time stepping out the norm was at Mitchell High School had a battle of drummers, and I was listening to I listened to crowd reactions. That's a lot of what is a secret. I guess it's out now. How I kind of judge what we do. I listen to the crowd
Mhm.
based off of, and not every single thing, because it's not, you can't live life like that. But it's certain key moments you listen for. And so after we finished that first time doing that performance of what we did, everybody was like, they were looking like shocked, like, what did we just see? And
Right.
I watched that video, and I watched it just to listen to that. That's one of my favorite parts. Like, the only person who responded was like the DJ. He was like, man, that one did a
Right.
whole concert. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, I listened to it. Like, everybody was like, okay, what is this? Like, it wasn't bad, but it was different. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I get where you coming from, bro. Like,
And
I was,
that's a I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's a key component to like we as drummers or especially as teachers, we know the beats, no matter the style, traditional, chorus, velocity stroke, molar stroke, no matter what, the beats, whatever style we play, are going to be there. But not everybody in the crowd understands that. So then
man,
what do we want to do for them to understand what you're doing? And like you said, we don't play towards the crowd, but there are moments where the crowd needs to know, like, hey, we're here to play, we're performing for you guys as well. And then we'll get back to the judges doing whatever we need to do.
bro,
And then come back,
did I text you that to say that? Because you saying exactly what I said.
No, you ain't text me that.
And listen, when I say the exact, I was talking about pretty much word for word, bro. Word for word. The crowd, drummers know what drummers play. You got that market.
Mm-hmm.
Got them.
What about everybody else?
That's coming to watch the drummers play that don't understand. Hey, man, listen. Good interview, bro. We wrap up. Hey, for real, it's just that simple. It's that simple. We know what we're playing. We know.
Yep.
You know what you playing. If you from Memphis, you know what we playing. We done battled you standing still playing it. So you know we playing. It's just a little so much you can throw in there, man. I got some more stuff I'm working on. We're gonna throw out there a couple and soon whenever this pandemic over. But man, you gotta keep evolving, man. You can't get stuck, man.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Hey, man. Appreciate you, Goodwine, man. That was some good validation there, boy.
You know what you're doing, man. You know what's crazy? Like, you can show this interview, and I can show the interview to my students. We'll both, but then I'll say the same thing a million times. But if they hear you say it, it's golden, and then they're gonna do everything just because you said it. Even though I say it every single day,
exactly,
and then vice versa. I tell you, it happens all the time.
It's crazy. Like it's like at some point they're gonna block out your voice. You gotta have another voice to come in to say it. Hey, man, drums.
Say the exact same thing.
Drums is drums everywhere you go, people. It's gonna be the same way. It ain't no different. It ain't no tricks to it. Just do it. Cool. Hey, so the last little, standard question would be, what is one of your biggest takeaways that you have from your years of performing, playing, that you have taken from those moments and applied to your everyday life and where you are now, and how you pursue the things you do now as far as teaching and living life?
I think being a teacher and playing in the line and performing, like, even still now, I'm grateful enough to be performing with the Pistons drum line, to me to still be able to play outside of work and everything. The biggest thing for me is using that percussion mind and taking it across in other ventures. Like, for me, like, everyone knows my band program, Oak Park. And we're considered one of the powerhouses, just like Whitehaven and just like In the Car and the many millions other ones that are, pretty strong, prominent programs. But for me, like, my teaching, it reflects everything I learned from listening in a drum line. Like, how we clean up, like clean, put the if you got the little headphones on, put them on, put the little earmuffs in, or use your finger, listen to the snares. I actually do the same thing with the band. Okay. And it's kind of weird. It's weird because I think that's what is attributed to my success, because I love how percussion heads are so focused on making sure everything is heard when it's supposed to be heard, and everything is as clean and crisp, as tight as it can. And I do the exact same thing with the band. And it's weird, like, when the students, they see me put on my headphones and I let them play. And why you put those headphones on? Like, because I can really hear what I need to hear when I'm muffled and everything is all way. Because I mean, our band room is decent. The sound bounces off the wall just like anyone else's. We don't have carpet, so the sound is everywhere.
Right.
So I can't really, I mean, I can hear like y'all playing really loud, back off. But I need to hear, you know, how percussion is here, how we do things, and like, oh, that's out of tune. So I use that with my band stuff. Like whenever I'm doing a clinic or working with any band program, I do the same thing, like so I can really hear what we're trying to do. Like in percussion, you know, our drums are so strong. We have to depict the melodies and counter melodies within our cadences. So we're really listening. I feel like percussionists are the best at active listening in the music form of active listening, whatever that is. So I'll just apply it to the band world. The same stuff that we do as drummers, I just apply it in the band world, and I found some success with doing it. Like I'm not the most band directors are trombone players or saxophone players, tuba players, and like they have their, you know, their music, that sounds, and that's their mindset. Mine is totally different.
Right.
I'm a percussionist.
Right. And I look at guys like you, Cosby Smith, my guy, man. This is my bro, big bro. You know, he's a percussionist. That's a band director. Mr. Little, Jack State. Jack State. I even looked at once I found out. You know, I found out about you last year when we actually did the showdown. You know, and we've been very very cool from a distance. We hadn't been too in really close like that, but we have our conversations are always productive. And then when I found out you was a percussionist and then the headband around, like, you gotta watch him. Even my guy Devin Fitzgerald, he marshaled me at Tennessee State. Let me tell you one of the coldest percussion players. My section leader at Tennessee State, his name is Alexandro Nichols. He's from Chicago. That man was cold. He's a band director also. His wife is have you ever heard of Flute Bay?
Yeah.
That's his wife.
Okay.
That guy there was like he was kind of his just how he approached things. He was really good. He was really good. And that's just musically, just understanding. Like Alex was really smart with music and stuff. So, but yeah, man. So just looking at guys like that, having, and it's a lot of young guys coming up that's younger than me. And I'm like, man, listen, I gotta get it together. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get it together. And they're doing some great things, man. And I shout out to all the percussionists that's doing this marching band as directors and stuff too, man. Y'all making us look good, man.
It's like we can do. I say it like we can do what the guys that are instrumentalists do, but then I say y'all come over to our world and jump in this and see if y'all can do what we do.
Yeah, man.
I can't teach because I've been in classes with instrumentalists, and they take that percussion pedagogy class and they go, right, left. But we're teaching double strokes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta sit in here for this. My gosh. But then I would get in a brass class. I remember getting a brass class, or I was good at woodwind, so I could compete with them. But the brass, my lips being on the trumpet, I'm like, oh my gosh. Da, 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 da. That was me. So I'm sure I got the same respect from them the day I was giving the percussion class.
Yeah, so. Man. Yeah, man. Man, band and music, bro, it's very important, man. It's not. I'm not gonna knock anybody, but it's one of the most difficult things to do. You know what I'm saying? Especially if, because everybody, like I remember, and I'm pretty sure you said, athletes looking at the band and talking about, yeah, we just doing like, okay, come on over. Hey. And listen, I told my guys to tell the football players, hey, man, y'all ain't doing. I'm like, they said, come practice with us.
Yeah, just come practice.
I got you.
March and play at the same time. That's all you lose them right on there, and especially with instrumentalists. Yeah. Oh my God! Like, and I give credit. I think I respect. I mean, everyone has their own degree of difficulty. Exactly. Everyone does in any way, but like tuba players and marching euphonium players. Oh my God! Like for you to march and put that much lung capacity through that instrument. Oh my gosh! I just think it's amazing.
Yeah.
If I had to go back and I didn't play drums, I would probably play one of those.
Yeah.
Because like I love standing up with the tubas and just
Yeah.
rocking and all that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, it's about to go down.
Yeah, man.
Kind of
Too.
thing.
I've like, I don't know where this came from. I'm gonna be honest. When I was in high school, for sure, maybe going into my junior year, I've never paid attention to baritones ever.
Mhm.
I
Never me either.
I
Never.
never paid attention to them, and all of a sudden, these dudes are almost the coolest dudes in the band in a sense.
Oh.
Man, I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? And because I remember when I was in school, man, in like my 9th, 10th grade year, we had literally my 9th grade year for sure. I think we had 3 baritones, and we weren't missing them. You know what I'm saying? Because they were just, I guess, they just stayed in the melody. They weren't on this phase of say this aggression thing come. I don't know what I really don't know when it started. I can't pinpoint for me personally. But now all of a sudden, if I had to do anything, because when I was in school, I wanted to play mellophone. I even
Okay.
tried. See, man, my guy, he wanted to get on the interview, so I'm gonna shout him out. Andre Newsom, one of the associate band directors at Tennessee State. I'm shouting you out on VRoc Challenge, bro. He was actually my band director in high school. And I always wanted to play mellophone. I used to want to play Brazilian rhyme. I used to play that in
Yep.
high school. That was my only little one, only
Mhm.
little line I can get out, man. But now I play baritone so quick, so quick. I don't boy that man, they just so cool. I like, man,
Yeah.
if I be a band, we're gonna have 27 baritones.
27 baritones, and 50 tubas, and they're just gonna stand up and rock the whole
That's all
time.
you need.
Like
And
bang,
go.
bang. I'm like, ooh, here go the tubas. Here they come. Here come the youths cutting through.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man.
So
I would
cool,
play one
man.
of those instruments if I had to go back.
Yeah. Now you've been doing a great job of trying to giving dialogue as we go through. Uh, so I know you said your moment when you got to high school. You said high school. Did you went in playing drums? Correct. You did go to
Yeah,
high.
because I was playing in drill team. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that. No, let's talk. We got two. We could talk about going from drill team to the little marching that y'all did do, and
Mhm.
you started out perfectly. Explaining why you chose Central State. But going into the transitioning from high school going into Central State. Let's talk about that whole little timeline. Drumline, drill team, a little bit of marching, and then finally going into Central State. Kind of.
Okay, so like in drill team, we play in Dayton, Ohio. So Central State is maybe 20 minutes from Dayton. So like how Tennessee State's in Nashville from Memphis. So I think whatever local area, I think Murfreesboro, I think that's probably closer to Tennessee State. So Central State in Ohio, everybody did everything Central State did, no matter what it was. Drill team, high school, nothing. You did it because that was the mother school right there. And all of their graduates came back to their cities and taught everything that Central State did, just like any other HBCU
Right.
would wherever they are. It was common sense. So we played a lot of Central State stuff. And then, going into high school, my instructor was from Central State. So it was like, oh, okay, I know most of the stuff. Our versions, because of course, it gets lost in translation. You add a backstick here or the
Yeah.
parts in the right, because everything's by ear or rote teaching at that time. So he taught us some of Central State stuff, and then he created his own stuff based off what he knew. And so I played a lot of Central State and whatever he was teaching stuff. And I would look up and watch. That was back when they would show the HBCUs on
Mhm.
halftime or BET or something like that. And so like when I first time saw on Prairie View, I don't know if it was, no, they didn't come to Circle City Class. I don't know where I first saw them on TV. I think it was on TV. I was like, oh, I want to go there.
Yeah.
That, whatever they just did, that, the box and them yelling and jumping, like I need to be out there with them.
Yeah.
So those are my three things. And Bethune Cookman was just like, hey, I saw them at, I think at Circle City Classic. Oh, they're big too. So I like kind of like them. They're just big. So, but my favorite two was really Central State and Prairie View, because those were the two that I would watch a lot of. And Central State, it was like embedded in me. Like everybody from here, just like down in Jackson, everybody who in that area, you know, Jackson's whole sequence.
Yeah.
They first 15 challenge cadences and everything. Every drum major knows get ready, the moves and all that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of some of the thing. So going into college, like, of course, for me, here's a fact. I knew my rudiments, but I didn't know them like I was supposed to know them. So like I could play anything. Like you play it, I can play it right back, run it back. Right. But I didn't know them like you would say, play a flamacule. Okay. And you play it like that. I didn't know them like that. Right. So when I auditioned, I didn't get that much money. My mom, I'll never forget it. Like the band director at the time, his name Mr. Millsap. He's calling out rudiments, and I'm like, can you play it for me? And he taps it off, and he's a trumpet player, so he taps it off. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. And then I start flying with it. Yeah. So of course that was my downfall, is that I didn't know him like I was supposed to know him. And my instructor told me like, you need to make sure you know your rudiments. You good. Make sure you know your rudiments. I'm like, I got it. I know him. Mm-hmm. You know, I put it off. And I remember my mom calling the band director over and over. I just want to know my son's scholarship. She auditioned, And I don't think I got the money that she was expecting I was getting, which was my reality check to me. Like, man, you're not as good as you think you are. Mm-hmm. You need to put more into it. And, you know, I've been playing snare. I get to Central State. We're small. It's only 4 snares at the time. And it was a new band director. So he was rebuilding the culture, because the former director had left a few years back and went to Alabama State. This is Dr. Oliver. This is Mr. Millsap. His second year, he's building the program up. We got some guys at J.R. McQueen from A&T, because he was from A&T. Mr. Millsap's from A&T, and his high school was Dudley High School. This is back when if anyone knows of Dudley High School from I think the late 90s, early 2000s, they were huge, like Southwest DeKalb huge. Yeah. They were huge in North Carolina. So we had a lot of North Carolina guys come over. One of the guys from Cold Steel is named JR. So he's teaching that. Section leader, this guy he's from not Toledo, Ipsy. He would kill me if I said Toledo. His name Frank Brown. So I get up there, like I can play. And then there was this one, I never forget it. They were teaching something, and it involved a 6-stroke roll. Mm-hmm. Now I'm thinking 6-stroke roll is 2 doubles, double, tap. Right, like that's the way I was taught. Like that's not the way I was taught. That's the way I interpreted it as. Like you do a 6-stroke, double, tap. Mm-hmm. They're like, no, play a 6-stroke roll. He's doing it. And I'm like, bro, I don't know what the heck he's doing. Like, that is crazy. JR, he was doing it so fast. And the thing it was like a snare solo that involved the 6-stroke roll. So I was good. Like, you know, you go in, like, I know all central stuff. So I just got to learn it the way they teach it, and I'll be fine. They threw a curveball and started teaching new stuff that, you know, some of the North Carolina stuff that I wasn't familiar with that involved, I never forget this 6-stroke roll, and I could never get it. And because I couldn't get it, I got taken off a snare and put on bass drum. Oh my gosh. I was crushed. Like, oh man. Oh my gosh. I was crushed. And it's my own fault. I don't think no one ever I don't think I've ever told anybody the true story. Of course, I volunteered too, because I mean, yeah, I play bass drum. I've done it before. I do it, but I think the real reason was I couldn't keep up. No matter what I tried, I couldn't play that 6-stroke up to speed. And then when I first got it, I couldn't play it as fast. So I'm like, yeah, it's about to be bad, man. You about to be out here on this bass, man.
So what was the correct way of playing it for him?
The tap, double, tap. The that. And I was like, but I only did it because nothing I think nothing we did involved the six stroke, that version, or the actual version that now, like that's the way a six stroke is.
Right.
But the way I was doing it was is the inversion of it, and that's the only way I've ever played it. So, so yeah, that's on me. Like I should have known my rudiment.
Let me look at that one because I play it like
he did. Hey, he was like that. You'll know when you hear me like, oh yeah, I know that. I didn't know that was the official way a six stroke roll goes. Yeah. That.
I've been messing up too.
Hey, that man, he did that. And he was flying with it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I've learned it wrong, or I've been doing it wrong for years. So I was crushed. I was on bass drum for a few years.
With the accent, people. You start to
see them accents is yeah. They got me.
Yeah, okay.
And see now I'm old enough. Right. I'm old enough to admit that I was wrong. I didn't know what I was doing. And that's why I got put on bass drum in college, the undergrad. Eventually I got back on snare, sticking with it, keep practicing. I think it was my junior year or something like that. I don't remember, junior or whatever. But yeah, that was my my most, I don't want to say, my transition from drill team to high school to college. Like, hey, this is real. You don't know it, you move. And then that applies to me now, especially as a performer, like playing with the Detroit Lions drum line and the Pistons drum line. Like oh my gosh, I love them to death. But our coach, or I don't want to say coaches, but the heads of the drum lines, both of them, they give you the music. Here's the stuff. Know it. Period. There's no discussion. Either you know it or you're not playing, or you're not getting paid. It's that simple. So being, of course, reading and all that, like going home, let me practice and make sure I got my part before I go back in there, because they not about to, I ain't about to sit down.
Yeah. My partner Tevin was talking about when he played for Grizz Lions here in Memphis. So speaking on when he was there, they gave him the music and go.
There you go.
Yeah, he said he started real early. He said I think he said 16, 17, somewhere up in there. He started real early playing with them. So yeah. So cool, man. Hey, listen, I'm studying. I will be studying with Prof Lane. He's actually my percussion, my applied lessons teacher for my school. He's doing that.
Wow, you blessed.
Yeah,
you got a legend. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. That's my guy, man. We talk regularly. So, but I know he's gonna break me down. Yeah, he about to break me down, Prof. I see my help on the way, Prof.
I remember when I first met him, he did a clinic at the same thing I saw Cream at. And he did a clinic, but he brought out his congas and was out there going crazy. And I was like, oh my God, like again, in my mind, I'm doing it wrong. Like, why don't I know how to do that?
Listen, I've been very, very fortunate and very, very blessed to be able to have him as a resource and an ally. It started at Tennessee State. My first time meeting him was at Tennessee State, and over time, just time in life has brought us like this. Because when I first got there, he didn't know who I was from anybody. You know what I'm saying? And as we progressed, now I'm talking about we calling and texting or Facebooking every other day, just about. Matter of fact, I hadn't heard from him, so I'm gonna check on him.
Right.
When we finish this interview. But yeah, man, that dude there is, and he actually, man, he did 2 clinics for me. He did one in Memphis. Was myself along with Mu Phi Sigma, a percussion fraternity. We actually collabed on that one, and then I got him to come to Kahoma, and he did one at college, back to back. And I do every time I watch his clinics, and I done seen at least 10 or 12 of them in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And man, it's always something different, man. It's always something different with him, and you know what I'm saying, how he teach and what he do. But like you said, them conga drums, man, he probably one of the baddest dudes I've seen on conga, man. Snare on the conga, the man is phenomenal.
Great, like man, I said, like you said, you see him. I see him all the time at any big like PAS or Midwest clinic, anything. I go over to Remo and check in with Prof Lane, make sure he good. You know, he asks how your mom doing, how everybody, we all good, man. Just make sure you know he's how he's doing because I mean he is a little older. But yeah, he's man amazing. Like you've been blessed. You got a
Man.
nice guy on your hands.
Oh yeah, man. I'm very lucky with that one.
Right.
So cool, man. And I was listening, bro, when you was talking, man, and you was speaking on it's like I say, man, like they say music is a universal language, in which it is. Percussion is a universal language, and we all have similar stories. Listening to you talk about um rudiments. Like I know my rudiments, but I don't know my rudiments. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We had that real bad here in the city. Especially when I was coming. I'm speaking for me and my my point of view. If I'm wrong, that's y'all. But I'm right to
Right. That's
I'm right.
y'all. It ain't me.
What I see, what I remember, man. I remember a lot of the cats around here, even including myself and myself included, we were coming up because we when in high school, I never had a full, like you said, full time percussion instructor. We had my ninth grade year, we had one of our my big bro. He was dope for his time being with us, and that was Brian Kemp. He was sexually at Whitehaven back in the '90s with the Jack State. Then he came home and he was working with the band, but he was doing so much other stuff. He was gigging. He played set. He was doing other things. So the commitment level it wasn't as strong. You know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to live life too. And then we trained. I went from ninth grade to my senior year with like anybody. My senior year, we had a guy named Dinky. He came over uh about for first semester, and then after that, the spring of my senior year, we had my guy John Jordan, which is the architect for what kind of put the foundation together for what Whitehaven became. And but we never had anyone to kind of push us like, hey, you need to know this rudiment, you know this rudiment.
Yeah,
You
right,
gotta
right.
read this. I didn't have that for sure. I know I didn't have it in high school because they just I don't know. It was like now like I my guys I like y'all need to know this. Y'all need to know this. I send it to them. I send every class rudiments. You know what I'm saying? So learn these. You got questions, ask. So I didn't have anyone to make me learn them. I learned them, but I didn't learn them, like you say.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, like we say, like I was saying, similar paths, similar stories, bro. It's all connected, bro. No matter
Right.
where we are, and it's gonna be like that everywhere. No matter the style, especially like show style, we're gonna always have those little points, man. So cool. So my next question was to make sure I get it right. I want to make sure I don't want to say it wrong. My next question was when you were speaking about Prairie View, what was like I know you were speaking on a little bit, you was talking about seeing something different, but what about like most kids, parents, they didn't make the like now whatever the kid want to go, that's where you're going.
Yeah,
I know,
right.
like you said, you was real strong on Prairie View. What about them outside of saying you watching them, seeing what else kind of grabbed your attention to like I want to be at Prairie View, this is where I want to go. Like what else stood out? Ultimately you had to go to Central, but what else caught your attention with them?
Uh, Other than that, of course, everyone knows it. Well, if they don't know, Purview, the box or McFunk box, back in the day, like they were like the founders of, the I guess the show style drum line in
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs. So like me seeing a guy throw a bass drum across the field, or the tenor drummers getting on each other's back doing the snake, or hanging on each other's back, and then the snare drummers come up do something, then do this big flashy ripple, like that stuff like to me it was like they're playing for much more than drummers. And that, like when I first saw that, I was just amazed. Like I've never seen nobody do anything like that. Everyone else, like you said, come play, move on, do whatever their tradition route. But that was a part of Prairie View's tradition. And then they also stood and played too with the best of them.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, that is the complete line. They play for everyone. Everyone. They're part of the field. That's great. They were a part of the field shows back. This is the day. Like the field show was stopped just because the drumline had to do something. And they were like the only ones that did that consistently every time. Watching a million, because Prairie View was big back then too.
Yeah.
So that was all great, but I was waiting on the drumline to perform.
Yeah.
That was why I'm here to see the drumline perform until that change, get a little older and I become a band here. Like, all right, I need to see everybody.
Yeah.
So I look forward to see, even to this day, I look forward to a Prairie View band performance or an A&T band performance, because I know I'm gonna see a drum feature of some sort come out of nowhere, and I'm gonna watch them play.
Yeah.
Or do some trick or something, some acrobats or something.
Yeah. So I guess it's safe to say PV is the founding fathers of the show style. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of the young guys, younger kids, they look at NCAT, which they are dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're dope. I'm not taking nothing from anybody, but it kind of, the root of it kind of starts with Prairie View. That's what's my guy. I remember when Oak Park came to Whitehaven and we did the Battle of the Drummers, and I was mentioning one of the judges, and you were like, "Oh, Larry Else from Prairie View." I was like,
I need to meet that man. Like I need to hug him. Like that was my first time, and it's weird that I look at them like superstars or something, and it's kind of corny as a kid. I don't care. That was my first time
with it, bro.
That was from the box. Like you marched with the box too, so you was out there. Like you was out there doing all that. And man, I gotta give me a hug, man. Bring it in. I'm your biggest fan, kind of thing.
Listen, bro, ain't nothing wrong with this. I
ain't care. He stood there with his deep voice. I'm like, come on, man, bring it in.
Like, man, seeing people, man, this feel like, and they're like superstar. I said it a lot, man. Looking at the guys I grew up with, Steve Potts and Travis Pickens and Lil Don and TP, man. Looking at those guys from afar when I'm younger, and look, I'm like, man, them folks, they're cold. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, man.
And that's what I miss. I missed it a lot, because it's like how you say you some of the kids or some people missing out on some of their childhood because they don't. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
right, absolutely.
Yeah, but they got them. They just able to be right there with them. So cool. Let me ask you this, because you've done show and core, and my boy Tevin, he gave me his opinion. I ain't trying to put you on the spot, but which one outweighs the other in a sense? I know that both have their complexes, but who's a little bit more difficult to deal with, like as far as like the switch from show to core? Who gets the edge, in your opinion?
I think it depends. It varies, because if you're looking at, of course, let's go core. That just straight core, everything one is on paper,
right?
So just that, like if anyone can sit down, like some of the guys I play with at the Pistons and the Lions, like these quint players, six players, these are some of the best guys I've ever seen played in my life. Like I've seen them take this tenor music, like here you go, like every percussionist know writing tenor music is a headache, so reading it is a headache too. But I've seen them take this music and just go That's the first page. I'm like, how? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? How can you read that fast? And the attention to detail in core style is in my opinion, is at a higher level than it is in show style, depending on which show style line you're reviewing.
Okay.
Because down in I don't want to articulate with Prairie View again, but Prairie View, like they're in that Texas, that what is it, University of North Texas, I believe, that percussion school over there.
Yeah.
And the guys over there are amazing. So like I'm sure a little bit of that kind of intertwines with PV. So they have attention to detail. I don't know if it's at the level of you in North Texas, but attention to detail to me in core style is much different. Well, not much different. I can't say that. That's not true. But their attention to detail is different than it is in show style. So in show style, the attention to detail is still there, but it's there at the level that it is in core style, based on what the drum tuning. Oh my gosh, the drum tuning, the actual way the music is written, and where, like, you ever see snare drummers in core style, like they're hitting in different zones because the person that's writing it wants it to be articulated this particular way, versus in show style it's kind of generally in the center, unless back in the day they used to decrescendo from the end to the center of the drum, but generally it's kind of in the center. And that's the sound that you want, like that's the sound that you're going for. So attention to detail in the music, core style heavy, like they got that, like, but the other piece, like the entertaining, the playing for much more than drum heads, and then the overall, well, no, both core style and show style do the same. Like there's a particular look that you're going for, whatever, no matter what, they're going for that look. So, but yeah, like swag, the let's rock it out, groove it. That's all show. Everybody know that's all show. The flair, the Z's doing all that. Like Jackson State, I was just watching a video on Instagram where everybody criticizing Jackson State's was it highest in the room symbol thing, where they just doing this or something like that. Yeah. And it's goofy, it's different. I like it, but I guess everybody don't like it because they're not doing whatever normal cymbal players do. But yeah, like that flower entertainment, that's all show style, and everybody knows that. It just depends on what you're judging it for. Like that's one reason why I went into the core style and learn that attention to detail. Like, and even now with the Pistons, it's still there that no, this needs to sound like this. No, that's a downstroke. No, this is a tap off. You should be at the edge right there. No, your stick should be right here. No, you're hitting it too hard right there. Like all that little stuff, they really go over that. Like like I think my first time, we do rim shots, right? Everybody does rim shots,
right?
But understanding the difference between a rim shot and a ping shot and a Glock shot was like, wow, wait a minute. There's four different sounds I need to worry about with just playing. I'm just trying to do a rim shot. But seeing core, they like those, like I said, the writing, they go for those particular sounds that they want with their writing. So I guess that's what separates the two to me, is just the writing and the material, what they're doing. But if you look at, I feel like I'm rambling, but if you look at South Carolina State, when Tim Green was teaching them, one would argue like, wait a minute, they're doing the same thing, because that BBI, I think, was at 2006 through 10 or 2000. I may be off of my years, but that BBI, I think it was up in Percussion Connection when BBI went against A&T. But that version, they did a lot of the stuff that the core guys do. And you can see a lot of the Cream. Like, I remember that was like the pipeline for Cream. Everybody played for Cream going to South Carolina State because they were so, they played similar styles and they focused on some of that stuff. So that was me seeing the intertwining of two. And A&T does it as well as Prairie View does it too. But most people don't. I don't think they pay attention to it because they got the traditional bass drums and the upright tenors and the quints. But Prairie View does it too.
Hey man, I really do. I really like Prairie View. When they, some stuff I don't dig, like I think it was they did the little battle. Was it Jackson or Texas Southern? It was one of them. But overall, I like Prairie View.
I know which one you're talking about, against Jackson. and they annoyed my soul, and I was so mad. It's
Yeah.
like, why are y'all up here dancing? And
Yeah,
I know y'all
yeah.
can
In the
play.
gym, right?
Yup, in the
Yeah.
gym. I know
Yeah.
that.
I
I
like,
was so mad.
yeah. But
Like,
overall,
stop dancing and play.
yeah. That's exactly what it was. And but overall, the section, I love their approach. I hate black dots, Larry on. I know you're gonna watch this. I hate black dots. I call those cheat heads.
Them
You,
was wow.
yeah, they're cheat heads. You're not a real bass
You
drummer.
know, and the silver dots are even worse. They're
Hey, any dot, man. You want to be
yeah.
a bass drummer? Get you some fiber skins, or you get you some Black Emperor pinstripe. You know what I'm saying? Get you some of them. But you want to be a bass drummer. You know what I'm saying? But no,
Right.
yeah,
Agree.
I like Prairie View a whole lot. I do need to do this, and because regional, regions have a lot to do with what we're exposed to, and
Uh-huh.
that's one of the, like I say, the pros. We got pros and cons to everything. You know what I'm saying? The pros of technology and social media, you can see more, you can learn more, you can be exposed to more. And then, like I say, like the con is you get to meet everybody. Something, but it's hit or miss because I don't know. It's more pros than cons, but I miss some of those small little details of getting to meet somebody for the first time. But it's
Yeah.
cool. But like I say, I've seen a couple of videos of Central State perform. But I've never just actually just sat there and just listen. A guy named Tyreek, he lived in Memphis for a minute
Trumpet.
and
Play
moved back.
trumpet. Mhm.
Yeah, he played trumpet. But yeah. He he was there, and when he went there, that's when I kind of looked into, what Central State was, who they were, program wise. And it's never been nothing bad, it's just always been kind of, a little bit smaller. So and
Right. Yeah.
the higher pitched drums. For me, I like that low end. I'm from Memphis. So
Mhm.
stat. That's the history of Memphis. A lot of folks don't know. I did a whole Black History program in Whitehaven. Reason Memphis like bass so much is because of Stax music. If you go listen to old Stax music, you hear that bottom, man. The drums, everything just got bottom. But I like lower tension drums.
Mhm.
This is preference. There's nothing wrong with whichever way you do. But yeah, man, I'm gonna dig into a lot of Central State stuff while I'm editing this video, and
Mhm.
so I'm pretty sure some stuff gonna come out of there. Did you write anything while you were at
Yeah,
Central?
actually, once I graduated, I came back and taught. Like I was a percussion instructor and assistant to the band director in 2007 and then 2010 through the 2012 season. And a lot of the of course, a lot of the music now lost in translation. Once I left, that remember you said having that guy saying, "Hey, you need to read this music. Hey,
Yeah.
you need to go to Rudiment." Like after I stopped teaching, I think it was a few years off before the next guy took over. But I taught up there. They have they still have cadences and stuff that I've done there before. But I think when I came back, my goal was to like I was saying, the stuff I was learning, I wanted to make sure that Central wasn't left out
Mhm.
from that. Like I started my master's and started being exposed to much more in the percussion world, and I pushed the reading and rudiment stuff heavy. I think my opinion, my downfall is I didn't incorporate most of the stuff that was done there prior to me, meaning years from back in the day, because
Right.
much of it was lost in translation
Mhm.
from a band director changing. At the time, I'm thinking like, okay, well, we don't have this, so I know this, I gotta roll with this. So yeah, I think, and we had some great performances. Like there used to be a St. Louis drumline competition
Okay.
every year by Terry Artis was his name,
Mhm.
and all the age he did it like I think 3 years in a row. Like Crank was there. Let me see, Crank, Auntie came one year. Lincoln, that was my first time seeing Lincoln.
Okay.
Seriously, Howard came. It was a big drumline competition every year in St. Louis for like 3 years, and we performed there. And of course, me, I love shows and not throwing drums, but I love movement
Yeah.
throughout shows and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I mean, it's a bit different, like the living, learning, the tension heads and all that, creating a different sound. Especially me being a band director now, it's like okay, if I ever get back to the college level, like I got to take into account this band sound because I mean I've created this strong band sound. You know, you work at Whitehaven,
Yeah.
this strong band sound. The
Mhm.
drums have to be able to be heard sometimes
Mhm.
through that band sound, and have to be able to be brought down.
Mhm.
You can't do that with really high tension drums,
Mhm.
or without having that fat bottom, without using black dots because you don't like black dots.
Right.
Fiber skin. So you know, like I said, you live and learn, change things, try new things. I think even at Oak Park we had, when we came down there, we used
Black
was Remo, what are they
Power
called?
Max.
Power, yeah, the Power Maxes,
That's
so
right.
they
That's
can be,
right.
and I took all the muffling out so they can be heard.
And what's
Uh
funny, I was just gonna mention it. I was just gonna talk about your bass line. When y'all did come, y'all wasn't high at
yeah,
all.
no,
Yeah.
and I learned that the hard way. Like, man, I can't hear nothing. I
Yeah.
gotta take that muffling out. It
Mhm.
has to come out. And then okay, and then I had to go from a 28 bass drum being the biggest drum to the next year we got a 30, and I'm like, that still can't hear it. Now I gotta get a 32 bass drum
Ooh.
just so I can hear a bass drum. Like,
Yeah.
matter of fact, I really like these tonals because I want to do more percussion wise, but I may have to just get rid of them and use all drops just so I can hear a bass drum
Yeah.
without them beating the heck out the drum.
And I was my. I'm trying to say my. I like tonal. Let me say that I like tonal, especially when it's for just the percussion section only.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
my conflict be when it's with the band. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna use this one because that's kind of the topic and because it's connected right now. What's the name? FAMU. FAMU.
Oh, yep. Jazz is silly for that, but yeah, I saw it.
But fam, they're really, they have really good players, and they're a little bit more. They're trying to market more, and it can come with time that changing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like in my day, I never thought about, matter of fact, when we played the Atlanta Classic, I didn't even think about fam drumline. Just it's no shot. It's
Yeah.
just preference. But how their drums sound with their band, it kind of, it's like, how many tones do you need when you got band playing tones, you got the tones playing tones. Now you got the bass drum playing. I'm like, man, and then you got tenors. I'm like, man,
It's a lot of sounds. Yep.
yeah. And so I know for me, not just me, but when we're going for playing songs, old songs, Earth, Wind, and Fire. You don't hear that in Earth, Wind, and Fire songs. You hear that straight. You know what I'm saying? And so how
Yeah.
that, like, I'm not talking about it because when Oak Park played, you could, it went with the music. But like, fam, they did it. It's a couple other schools. I'm not harping on them enough, but
Mhm.
a couple other schools, like when they play, their parts it's like they play for everybody to get a part in the song. I like, it's kind of taken away from the music. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But when
Right, right.
it's just y'all, cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Kind of thing.
I'm real. That's the only thing I don't like about tonal, but not because the DCI bands, it fit them. It fit their music because the spacing. They have so much space
Absolutely. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
between what they're doing. But like, he's trying to play. I've been thinking about you, ooh, and you've got tonal, like, it don't work. So that's just me.
But you're not right. Like, you're not wrong. Like that.
Okay.
That's actually truth. Like, if you think about it, like you said, we was talking earlier. There's a time and place for everything.
All right.
Playing behind a band, depending on the strength of the band. That's when you choose out the tones and tunes for your percussion, and then you're writing for your percussion line for whatever song it is. Like you said, if it don't fit, it doesn't make sense for you to be doing.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not the music. It sound like just something Johnny Lee Lane would say. He'd say, "I need to sound like a drum set. That's it. The drum set. I
Exactly.
don't need
That's
nothing
it.
else. Drum set. That's it."
That's it.
Sound exactly what he would say.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. You
but yeah,
can't.
I think it's like you said, it's just preference. Like if you actually analyze FAMU, they had a million. That's the tradition. They're just carrying on what was done
Yeah.
back in the day. But you remember back in the day, they were 300, 400.
Yeah.
They were that big that they had this really large drum line. Their snares were so deep, so everybody can be heard.
15.
Yeah, they were. I mean, you had, and that's the only way they can't spread around the field. Like, remember, like they would line up like
Yeah,
that
across the
and do
whole
their
yeah.
little, yeah, do that. You can't hear that if you're playing with high pitched snares or if
Yeah.
you don't have enough. So I think they over the years they always design their drum line for the band for the field, and then in recent years, FAMU is starting to step out of that box to like, oh, we're going to actually be a drum line too, other than just playing behind the band.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, I mean, what's I think his name's Demetrius Green. Like he's advocate. I think he marched at FAM.
Yeah, he marched there. Yep.
Yeah, and so he's been pushing them a lot. And then if you look at recent videos, just the last 5 years, like they start conforming and creating something different than
Yeah.
what FAM we know of. Well, we know from back in the day is. So
Yeah.
like I said, it
Most
takes
definitely,
time.
they have definitely evolved. And I'm gonna tell you this: by them being in the SWAC, they're gonna go evolve again.
Yeah.
The SWAC gonna bring it out, you man. I don't listen. They not that fam is not gonna survive in the SWAC. They're gonna change one more again.
Oh yeah, you're right. I would say check. Yeah, I thought you talking drum line, not band. Okay.
No, not the band, not the band. The band gonna do that, but the drum line definitely. Y'all have another change that y'all gonna hit. I guarantee it. It's gonna happen. Even I'm gonna tell you, BCU man, back in the day, it was a battle with them and somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It was like early 2000. Man, them folks were, when I say bumping, but them was killing. I can't remember. I gotta find it. I saw it in the PC one day. I like, man, Bethune, this Bethune. No, take it back. The current Bethune, y'all cold, okay? Don't take it no way.
You know, you'll be on the PC. Vince said that we wasn't playing. I'm like,
exactly.
Bro,
y'all were cold, but y'all had a little bit more funk on this particular video, especially the teledrums. I like that's what I like about fam. They got the upright, man. They not fam, Bethune. They got their upright thing.
Yeah, they do the little.
Yeah, man. They nice. But that old video, I think they were battling the FAMU, matter of fact, but they were bumping. I think they were smaller though. I think it's like 6-7 snares.
Oh yeah, that was small. That was. I don't want to say down here like they were bad, but
yeah,
they normally huge.
Yeah. So this wave, this like when I want to say early 2000s, like 2001 or something like that. But they were dope. Fam was over there doing what they were doing. I fast forward to them. I couldn't watch fam. They straight now. Like for real, they straight now, especially like this last, like you said, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They've been putting out some nice stuff.
Yeah. They just been turning into like doing more than playing behind the band. That's really kind of evolves to
that makes sense.
around. They just playing on their own now.
Yeah.
So they trying to block up, like they saying what's up. We out here, you know.
I see. Be careful who you walk up on now.
Right. I think what's gonna happen though, like honestly, either when I don't know their schedule or how that lines up, but I think one school in the SWAC, I don't know who, I'm not gonna say no names, but somebody's gonna underestimate them, and they're gonna make an example out of them, and it's gonna make the rest of those who don't underestimate people like Jackson, they play everybody the same. And they may say everybody suck and all that talking on Facebook, but when they playing at you like that, like they know you can play, so you about to get all this work. There's gonna be somebody that undervalues how, like you said, that the evolution of FAMU. And FAMU's gonna get them, and we're gonna be in the PC. Like, see, I told you.
I'm gonna tell you who ain't gonna underestimate them.
Oh yeah, we can run a list of them. That's not going.
I know who's gonna come forward like that.
But right now, it seems like Prairie View right now.
They finna go for blood. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but they coming out for blood. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for this pandemic to be over, man. I'm so ready so we can get back to some normal stuff, man. See these battles.
Right. Like, and seeing that the oh my God, like the PC, like some of the stuff over the last few years has just been like, even like you said, the pros and cons of social media. Like seeing some of the guys, some of the stuff that they post in the PC in terms of playing, and it's stuff that I would have never thought to look at in terms of people's lines and playing and stuff. The pro of social media, like, oh, I'm exposed to this. I've never seen an Alcorn until social media hit. Like, and I can watch. Oh, that I hear a case. Oh, that's Alcorn playing. Just the way the drums are tuned. And the same with Lane. Like I'm like that they benefit from media and you know and maximize that to the
Yeah,
fullest. You
yeah,
know.
that's what 5-6 year project there though. They just recently, like even when I was in school, I didn't think about Lane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We played when I was in school. We played at a couple of their football games. So, but yeah, but now yeah, it's a
That's the
different.
only thing. Like you guys had when you guys had your Whitehaven Battle of the Drummers, like, and I know the colleges get to do like a few cadences, man. I just wish they could like let them run the book. Like, but we don't have time for all that.
I'm gonna tell you,
There's so many lines there.
the year you came was the most we've ever had at one
Right.
time. So the what kicked it off was we had all the first year was Jackson, Mississippi Valley. That was 2013, and then the second year I think I only had Alcorn. Alcorn was the only one that could make Jackson had a conflict. They were probably in Jackson Alcorn. Their blue and white game got scheduled the exact same day. So by the third year, we had got Lane up and going. So I had Lane and Pine Bluff. That's when it kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I remember outside. Yep.
And then the next year was Jackson and Lane.
Yep.
That joint there was so good, man. Listen, we were about to, Mr. Noose was the head batter at the time. He said, hey, Vince, we about to put all this food in some to-go boxes. They gonna have to just take it with them. Man, that joint was so, when I say, it's like, you know, Jackson was like, we're still Jackson. And Lane was like, hey, we coming. And man, that joint, it could have went longer. I think that joint was like 30-some minutes. Yeah, and so when we get, we're gonna get back into it, we're gonna have more colleges, but just the next when we start, I'm trying to have like a 20-minute battle per
like let and I think that like it'd be, and I'm sure y'all thought of it, like getting those lines that don't ever see each other that we've wanted to see. Like I always wanted to see PV and A&T play, especially now. I wanted to see them two go at it. Just because the convert they're a little different, but very similar in their ways. And you never see it, stuff like that. And I'm interested to see how FAMU changes. Like you said, takes it up. They're gonna have to tweak it a little bit to if they will come to something like that and they block up against whoever you guys match up against. You know,
exactly,
like something like that. That'd be interesting to see.
Oh,
or BCU and PV. I would love to see. I don't think I've ever seen them play each other.
Now, that budget, you know, my budget gonna be that, you know.
Hey, yeah. Now when we talk with the budget a little different.
Yeah, that budget, I love having, but that budget, you know, we want fixed income around this piece.
Yeah, we don't know. I get it, man. We just, you know, we gotta crawl. We gonna it's gonna happen.
It's coming. It's coming. Right. I know when we kick back off, man, and we get life back to normal, man. Next year, hopefully, preferably, that's my prayer. That next year Battle of Drummers, it's some stuff gonna happen. You know, some stuff gonna happen, man. I promise you, some stuff gonna happen.
All right, I'm gonna call up Central. Hey, y'all need to get down there. I don't care what y'all got. Get it down there.
Let's go, man. We
get it down there.
Hey, so listen, I want to definitely touch on this. You know, shout out. You know, we kind of breezed across a little bit, but the battle with us and y'all, Oak Park and Whitehaven, and your snares. I don't know. You had 4. I know one of them he had to be young, just by the look.
Yep, he was in middle school, 8th grade.
He can play though. I just look at the body. I know he's young, but the 2 on the end, it was one with braids with glasses. I think both of them had braids, dark skin, light skin. I think them probably like 11 to 12 graders. But them
they were. Yep, and the other 2 were 9th and 8th graders.
Yeah, but they can play. The 9th and 8th graders, they can play. And but man, that was just run out like, man, because Cars was like, hey, Vince, you gotta watch them. I said, okay, so I'm gonna go look them up. I said, yeah, these boys can play. Okay, so let's
don't tell them that.
Yeah,
it's a funny story. So like, prepare for that because most people don't know it. Like, our kids, my kids, they love A&T, and that's great. Love who you love. So like. I wish I say this all the time. I wish it was, and I'm sure you'd have said it too. Like your line the year before, I'm sure you respect them like that. Thought they was good. My line the year before we matched off like that. I think that was a better line and overall plan. But it is what it is. You make it happen with what you got and move on, right? So like earlier that year, we went to North Carolina A&T's homecoming. And my kids, I said they love A&T. They love that North Carolina style drumming. If you look on YouTube, you can pull it up right now. And now this is how I humble my kids. They went head to head with Dudley High School.
Okay.
What's his name? Jarrell Plummer or KJ. He's in the percussion connection. I think he's a percussion instructor at North Carolina Central now.
Okay.
That was his line.
Okay.
And so if you look it up on YouTube, it's bad. It's bad. I hope you edit it and zoom me out and just watch it. I was like, oh my gosh. So like the kids got up there, and the North Carolina drumming attitude is identical to the Memphis drumming attitude, that we out here, we about to play, let's go. Like, it's very aggressive. And that was their first time seeing that. Like outside, like, of course, the band, we did great, went against every 8, 9, 10 different bands in the circle. They call it the dome at the end of the parade. Like, you get to the end and it's just all the high schools out there, and y'all do what you do. So then after that, it was Drumlines did it. I know you heard of T.W. Andrews. They were out there. And Grimsley Blue Steel Drumline. They're really good. They were out there too. So when we got there, I was like, all right, you guys, like, you're going to have to battle Dudley, but those other two, y'all better stay away from them. But if they call you out, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So they got out there in front of Dudley. One of the cadence we had is like start clicking. So it's a little click thing to set the tempo. Man, they started clicking like 4 seconds in. Dudley just come out there, start running. They just start running cadences, I think they ran like 3 before Oak Park did their first one.
Oh man!
And then Oak Park did their first one. Cats dropping, forgetting movements and everything. It was bad, but they needed that.
Yeah.
Because I knew we were going to Whitehaven later that year, like. Because had Whitehaven been their first time being in that environment, it'd have been bad. It'd have been worse. It was, oh my gosh. So again, if you look it up, you'll see, you're like, oh my God, them lines look like night and day. Yeah. And so like coming into the Whitehaven thing, I let them know, like, you guys are used to, I mean, you got a taste of that aggressive, you need to be able to play. Only difference is their drums are a lot louder.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the way you tune them and the drums is louder. We in that gym. You're supposed to lose because you're the visiting band. No one's going to be in your team or anything like that. And you got and of course, the style that you guys play, you guys do the solos, and we don't do the solos. So I was like, look, y'all can make up a few here or there, just get ready, but they're going to play really, really, really loud, and you're going to have to be able to maintain your composure and play back. So I guess during the battle, the kids felt like, okay, I know that they can only, the whole line, because it was a young line, there were only 2 singers, the 2 snare players that you were talking about. They were like, okay, they're not going to be able to hold their composure. Let's just run a few snare solos. And since they solo too, we can go back and forth doing solos to try to, you know, smooth it out a little bit to save the lack of experience from what we're into. It's interesting. That's why they started running. They tried to run solos. They ran a few of them.
I think it was, I want to say 3, maybe 4 for sure.
Yeah, like they just started trying to run solos to save it. And your line is like, nah, we about to start cranking up. They start cranking up. One of our kids tripped over the thing and all that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That kid lives actually down the street. He hasn't recovered from it yet. I'm like, bro,
oh man,
it happens, bro. It happens.
Oh man.
What's your footing? Deal with it, you know.
Yeah, man.
But, thought it was a great experience because, like I said, I wish it was the line I had the year before, but it would have been a great because the colleges don't do that. Like, there's no, I guess I'm revealing one of my secrets, one of my wishes, but the colleges, the lines don't do this. Like, you go into the SWAC, I don't want to say SWAC, but in the South, you have that there are lines that bump through the solos, right? Bumping and soloing, right? And then, block up running cadence for cadence.
Yeah.
In the East, or let's say MEAC, since everybody calls it the MEAC,
Right.
but it's really just that area of drumming. They do cadences, drum shows, and drum blocks where they play for like 9-10 minutes. And then because Norfolk and A&T does it all the time.
Right.
Like they'll do a cadence, and they both did a long blocks. And then that'll be it. So like I have yet to see a line that does all of them. Because I think that if you're I feel like, Vince, you better not take my idea, but you're probably gonna do it. It is what it is.
Oh, great.
I feel like you should be able to stand and play or bump. You can call that. You need to be able to run solo, since that's the new trend over the last 3, 4, 5 years. You need to be able to do a drum block, because that's what those in the East Coast, if they were included, they do like 7-minute standstill shows of cadences nonstop. I think it's some do cadences merged together, but I think they actually like write out their drum blocks, whatever. And then you need to be able to do drum shows as well. Like merging, like becoming that complete line is something I have yet to see a college do. Everyone is not saying they're stuck in their tradition. There's nothing wrong with that, but like evolving to the trend while staying within their tradition and being able to do everything. Like you see the solos, and there are people that criticize it, but like, hey, there are a lot of people doing it. So like, we might have to add that to our repertoire, And at that time, that Oak Park line didn't add it. The snares, of course, snares do solos forever, but as a whole line, they didn't add that to their repertoire. Just like the V State versus Lane battle, I expected, when Lane started doing their solos, I was like, it's about to be bad, because V State, from what I know, Virginia State, like they tone their bass drums, they get to going. So you think they get in front of Lane's bass drums, do a little solo? I'm thinking V State about to get up there, get to running them, and they did. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, I didn't know how to interpret that. Like, I was expecting both lines being able to do what everybody does, that complete line. But I mean, it's just like me to move to a college line again and do all that. Like, hey, you got to be able to do everything, because you got to compete with everybody. You go to a you out here now, like they got out here running, bumping, and then doing solo, and then you probably got, let's say, Norfolk State is on the other side doing drum blocks. What are you gonna do? You can't be one dimensional.
Right, I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. I know, like you saying, a lot of people, they assume that why even just do solos, because that was the thing. Like, we depend on solos. I'm like, no, we don't do that. Matter of fact,
they learned that day.
That same year, we battled Fairleigh again, because I think we missed a couple of years in between us going. And that year, we battled. It was at Fairleigh again, and we just played cadences. Like, a lot of people expect us to play. Like, all they gonna do is play solo. They like, no, listen. Nobody will ever know what Whitehaven gonna do. Because
so you gotta be prepared for that.
You just do what you gonna do. I might come in and do a battle where we just playing tenor solos. We don't play no K's. You don't know. It's just you do what we want to do. So you can't prepare. You can prepare, but we're not gonna follow what you do. So we just gonna do what we do. So, but yeah, when they were going, I was like, I see what they're doing. Okay. Play a cadence.
Right. And I was like, hey, like I said, everybody's snare line across the country should have a bunch of. They should be able to run solos with anybody, because they practice that everyone. And I was like, hey man, oh my gosh, hey, we're gonna run a few cadences, but snares, y'all gonna probably have to try to smooth it over to get us through this one. But I was actually, honestly, I was proud that they stood their ground and they weren't intimidated.
They weren't.
That happened in North Carolina, and it was bad. And I think normally the bands, or the trend that the band follows the drum lines attitude kind of thing. I don't know. From back in the day, that was the thing in colleges, but that particular group that year followed the band. Like
Yeah.
they had the match, of course you're going into a Whitehaven battle. I told the kids in the band, like, hey, you going in there, it's about to be bad. So you either gonna match the intensity or you're just gonna take an L.
And
And
listen, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. You saying you wish you had the drum line for the year before. We had our baritones from the year before. Cause we really
oh yeah, oh I know.
We really had two guys. You know what I'm saying? We had four total.
Hey, I remember that and that's what I was prepared off of, like the youths, and I knew the tubas was about to. Oh my god,
yeah. They did.
Them tubas, man. Listen, them tubas, man. Them are grown men.
Like, listen, for 3 years.
Man,
yeah, for 3 years.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna tell you what's funny. A lot of people thought it was gonna be like this year tuba section. They stepped up last year, and so this year was gonna be another great year. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we had a nice retention coming back, man. So we're gonna be all right next year. But losing this 1 year is kind of it's gonna kind of hurt everybody. But yeah, man, we our tuba's been, and matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. That year we went to New Orleans to battle in the car.
I remember. Okay, I saw the video. Yeah,
we did the two was walking out, and I was watching the video. I was like, dang, we had them dudes a whole nother year.
Hey, I was in the gym, like they in my ear, like, hey man, them are grown men back there. Who's teaching them?
I don't know what it is about what happened, but historically, our tubas, man, they've been humping for years. When I say years, I'm talking about years, bro. I'm talking, you can go back to 2000. 99, 98, you know what I'm saying? And we had a couple, like maybe 2010, 2012, 2011, something like that. We got down to like 5, 6, then we shot right back up. Because my first year at Whitehaven, we were huge. We had 17 tubas, 22 bones, 3 baritones, 6 violas, like 26 trumpets, 55 clarinets, 25 saxophones, I think like 10, 12 flutes, you know what I'm saying? So we were huge all my years. So matter of fact, I can go to my senior year. We was in the ultimate, man. We had like 12 tubas that year, and man, them dudes they were.
Hey man, and them, hey, I would never. Hey, those tubas. I told my kids, listen, tubas. Y'all better not get out here and try to. How kids get in front of somebody and try to overdo it. Like, listen, you're not gonna win at all. Yeah. Play with the band. Stay with the band, because we knew that coming in. Like, oh my gosh! Like I was listening to them play. Like, man, them got to be college students, man. They are amazing. Like
we've had that before. Like I remember some years. Matter of fact, I want to say like 2010, about 2009. Like somebody like, man, check their ID. Check their ID. Like, no,
right, man. Like, how are they playing like that? So young.
Man, it's a blessing, bro. We just been blessed to have the program to sustain the way it says. Because, like I say, but we've been honestly, bro. We are the longest tenured band program in the city as far as being consistent. This goes back to the 80s.
That's good, man. Like it's a tribute to the culture that you guys have created, or whoever started it, and it's still going. And you guys, someone in place to continue that culture of breeding band students. Like, I mean, everybody knows of the Haven. Like when I first mentioned the idea to Kellen, like at Midwest in December, like, hey man, like my kids, they need to prove themselves. They got to go against you. You're the big dog. Like we know of the Haven up north. Yeah, so that's same with the other programs like the Skylines and Cars and Monday Mid. Like we know of all of those programs. We're just so far being all the way up that we can get one trip a year. That's it. Like,
one good one.
We can't go to those. You guys, you're in the middle. Like you can bounce around like all through the South. We can't do that because it just costs us way too much.
Yeah, man, I understand, bro. I understand 100%, bro. And it was funny, like having like what you just said, we kind of in the middle. That kind of reflects our drum culture. Like I said, I've said it before. We're a hybrid Memphis because it's drummers all throughout this city, all around. Like they can play. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And even they've been better than some of the guys that come through. Because everybody think we get the best. Like we don't. You know what I'm saying? We just make it work. But we get really good players. We get some great ones too. But man, it's just the city. We're a hybrid of Tennessee State and Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? And then you throw a mix of other schools in there. Maybe a little Pine Bluff, a very little amount of Southern, very little. We had a guy named Eric Newburn. He's a Southern, like I think that's what they call it. Well, he Fun Factory, but he was very, very influential in bringing some of that Louisiana Southern stuff here. Like you say, when you go to school and come back home, you want to teach it. So he was a very big part of that. But over the years, a lot of the guys go to Jackson or Tennessee State, and then for one period of time it was more Tennessee State and a few of Jackson. Now it's kind of reverse, and then we got guys going to other places like Talladega now, and I got pretty much all my seniors from 2020 at Kahoma with me right now. So, man, we're in a good spot for what we do as far as percussion. You know what I'm saying, and those schools having great programs. Kind of. You know what I'm saying? Regurgitate back into pour back into our city. So, man, we're like a good spot for what we are, man. And guys before us, before me, you know what I'm saying? They went off and came back and did the same thing. That's why I'm talking about this superstar aspect of percussion for us, man. So cool. But yeah, man. So, bro, I honestly don't know how long we've been going. I really don't, man. It probably 2 hours, man. So
rapping, man.
How the hell you up for so long today, man? So
you good, man, because it's like during the shutdown, you don't get to talk drum, you don't get to talk band like that because you're not in that environment.
Right.
Like thankfully you cornered the nickel on the market, like, hey, I want to do this right now. Like so you get to have these conversations week in and week out. I don't know if you got who's your next lineup, man. But
actually, my next guest is my very first band teacher.
Oh, for real? Okay.
Yeah, and he was my 6th grade band teacher. His name is Teddy Hall. I'm gonna talk about
it. Yeah, doctor. Is it any doctor?
Yeah, he should be Dr. Teddy Hall by now.
Yeah. I was on the marching, what's it called? The HBCU marching podcast with him a few weeks back.
Yeah. Teddy Hall, man. That was my very first band teacher, like in middle school, 6th grade.
Oh, word? Okay.
Yeah, man. He took matter of fact, that's who introduced me to All West. He got me into All West. He encouraged me to do All West. All that because of him. And man, he did that my 6th grade. We're gonna talk about it with him. But my 6th grade year, we finished the whole 6th grade year. Finished, come back for 7th grade. Miss Hall ain't done no more. I ain't see Mr. Hall. Listen, so from 6th grade, I saw him 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. My senior year, so 6 years, the spring of my senior year, I went to Tennessee State to audition. Open the door, Teddy Hall.
He's standing there like, what's up?
He's the percussion instructor at TSU at the time. I love it. Mr. Hall. I like that man disappeared.
Like, what's up?
And so I did my audition with him, man. Unfortunately, he left me again. I'm gonna ask him. I like, Mr. Hall, was I really bad? Because you found out I come in like you dip.
Right. Yeah, right.
That bad, Mr. Hall. He so when I did the band in Tennessee State, he left. I think he went to I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know where he ended up going, but we've always figured out a way to reconnect, man. But yeah, that's my next